wisdom, inspiration, and knowledge. Our respected functional directors, CVO, SECL, and all the dignitaries are requested to kindly join our chief guest in lighting the ceremonial lamp. Please, sir. As the flame spreads its gentle glow, let us remember a single lamp can light 1,000 others without losing its brilliance. May this light inspire us to spread wisdom, joy, and harmony in the same way.
ज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Thank you, sirs. I request all the dignitaries and everyone present here to kindly stand up for the Coal India corporate song.
हमारे मिले कदम हमारा चौड़ा सीना विशाल कंधे हमारे हाथ फौलाद हमारे हम हैं आग हम हैं बिजली हम हैं शक्ति की खान हम हैं कोल इंडिया हम अंधेरे से खोद लाते हम उजाले खुशियों के चट्टाने फोड़ जुटाते हम ईंधन लाखों के हम हैं कोल इंडिया हम कदम मिले चले ताल मिलाकर साथ पकड़ कर बाहें हम लाए काला हीरा हमसे उज्जवल देश की राहें हम हैं आग हम हैं बिजली हम एकता की खान हम हैं कोल इंडिया हम
Thank you. Today's keynote session is part of a historic celebration. 50 years of Coal India Limited and 40 years of SECL. These milestones remind us that true progress is built not just on numbers, but on values, resilience, teamwork, and above all, leadership. And who better to reflect on leadership than our chief guest this afternoon, a man whose name carries respect across generations and continents, Mr. Steve Waugh. At the young age of 20, he stepped onto the international stage, beginning a journey that would inspire millions. Over a remarkable career, he played 168 test matches, scoring 10,000 plus runs, and appeared in 325 one-day internationals. He remains the only batsman in test history to score 150 runs against each test-playing nation, a true mark of consistency and class. As captain from 1997 to 2004, he transformed the Australian cricket team into one of the most dominant sides in history, guiding them to the 1999 World Cup victory. overseeing 15 consecutive test wins and recording 41 test victories overall, the highest win percentage by any test captain. His grit and calm under pressure earned him admiration as one of the greatest leaders the game has ever seen. For his contributions to cricket and society, he has been honoured with the Order of Australia, the Australian Sports Medal, the Rawdon Cutler Medal, and was named Australian of the Year in 2004. He has been included into the ICC Cricket Hall of Fame and recognized as a National Living Treasure of Australia. He is also one of only 4 cricketers ever invited to the prestigious Laureus World Sports Academy, where he continues to champion sport as a force of good. But his journey did not end with cricket. Off the field, Mr. Waugh has become equally admired as a humanitarian and leader. Through the Steve Waugh Foundation, now in its 20th year, he has provided life-changing support to children and young adults battling rare diseases, ensuring that, as he says, no one should have to stand alone. Everyone needs a team to support them. His association with Udayan in Kolkata reflects his deep connection with India and his commitment to give dignity and hope to those in need. His foundation's flagship initiative, The Captain's Ride, brings together people from all walks of life to raise awareness and funds for children with rare diseases, while also serving as a leadership and endurance journey that mirrors the courage of those very children. Beyond sport and philanthropy, Mr. Waugh has built a reputation as a thinker and storyteller. He has authored 14 books, including his best-selling autobiography, Out of My Comfort Zone. In 2020, he released The Spirit of Cricket India, a photographic journey into India's unique relationship with the game, accompanied by a documentary that was streamed worldwide. His next project, The Spirit of Cricket Australia, is already in progress. He has also served as a mentor with the Australian Olympic team and the Australian soccer team, guiding athletes with his wisdom and experience. And in 2023, he was appointed by the Government of Australia to the Advisory Board of the Centre for Australia-India Relations, making him an ambassador of goodwill and collaboration between our two nations. For different generations among us, he has been many things: a cricketing hero, a captain admired for his composure, an author, a mentor, a philanthropist, and above all, a leader who continues to inspire across borders. As he once said, to make a positive impact, you have to give 100% every day, be it on the cricket field, in business, or helping a child. On behalf of the entire SECL family, it is a privilege and honor to welcome to this stage Mr. Steve Waugh. May I now invite our functional directors, CVO SECL, along with the dignitaries, to extend a warm welcome and accompany Mr. Steve Waugh to the dais. I request our functional directors and CVO SECL to extend a warm welcome with an uttariya, book, bouquet, and a symbolic plant sapling representing growth, friendship, and sustainability. I request our functional directors representatives of the state, steering committee members, welfare committee, safety board members, members of the SISTA, OBC Association, and representatives of the trade union to welcome Mr. Steve Waugh with Uttariya, bouquet, book, and a plant sapling. We now request our FDs to kindly present a book to Mr. Steve Waugh. We also request our dignitaries to welcome our chief guest. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, sirs. And here comes the moment we have all been waiting for. We request our distinguished chief guest, leadership speaker, Mr. Steve Waugh, to kindly deliver his keynote session on leadership. Please, sir.
Very good. Good job. Thank you. Am I okay to stand here? It's good. I'm good, yeah. I'm perfect. It's perfect, thank you. Thank you for that very generous and kind introduction. You've really done your research. That was quite amazing. Thank you very much. And I'm glad I wore blue. It seems like it's the right colour. The team colours? Yes, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for the welcome and the opportunity to speak here. Celebrating 50 years, that's an amazing achievement. So, and 40 years here in particular, that's fantastic. I love history and numbers are really important. Numbers are very important to Indians, especially in cricket. You seem to win all the numbers, you know, that most people, every stat India wins. So thank you for being here. It reminds me a lot of my journey to India started back in 1986, nearly 40 years ago. So nearly the same time this company had begun. My first tour was, I landed in Bombay back in 1986 with the Australian cricket side. Alan Border was our captain back then. We were a team that hadn't won much cricket at all, and that first tour to India really was a bit of a turning point for the Australian cricket side. And I don't know how many people watched that game or remember that game, but there was a match in Madras, the famous tied test match, where Dean Jones scored 200. It was my first experience playing against India. Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev, Ravi Shastri, Dilip Vengsarkar, all these amazing cricketers, and that was a great experience. But coming to Bombay for the first time as a 22-year-old or 23-year-old, it was like I'd landed on a different planet. Coming from the western suburbs of Sydney, where I was very sort of isolated and sheltered and very shy, coming to India for the first time, getting out of the airport of Bombay, getting on the team bus. And I remember driving to the Taj Hotel in Bombay and just looking out the window of the bus, and there was just people everywhere. It was sights, the sounds, the smells, this bombardment of senses. The bus and the cars, they weren't stopping at traffic lights. It didn't matter. No one was staying in the lane, and I'm thinking, where am I? This is like landing on another planet. It was such an amazing experience. It's changed a little bit today. Cars tend to stay in the lanes and everyone stops at traffic lights, but 40 years ago it was like a road race. It was a free-for-all, so that was an amazing experience. Those early days for Australian cricket weren't very successful. In fact, I look back at my own career and everyone says that I had a really lucky and successful career for Australia, but I didn't take part in a winning test match for my first 13 test matches. So that was over a year before I won a test match. It took me 4 years to score a century for Australia. So there were some really tough times. I learnt a lot of lessons in those tough times. Really the turning point for Australian cricket came in 1987, and that's when we won the World Cup in Calcutta at Eden Gardens. And there's a few people might have watched that game. There's a few older people here. Did anyone watch that game? There's a hand up there. Good, good. Many people watched that. Well, what happened in that game was quite amazing, really, because we had beaten Pakistan in the semi-final, and our opponents, England, had beaten India in the semi-final. So we went to Eden Gardens, Calcutta, and there was 110,000 people all cheering for Australia, which never ever happens. It's the only time it's ever happened for us in India. So now I sort of knew what it felt like to be Sachin Tendulkar or Sunil Gavaskar scoring 100 in front of 100,000 people all cheering for us. It was an amazing experience that we had all those people at Eden Gardens wanting Australia to win. It never happened again after that, but that was an amazing time in 1987, and that was really the turning point for Australian cricket. Alan Border as our captain hadn't had much success as a captain, but having that experience and winning in 1987 was pretty amazing. And I've had some amazing experiences playing cricket in India, and one of those was, of course, the 2001 series. I can't remember what happened in that series, who won, but it was a good series. I think India might have won, actually. And there was that famous test match again in Calcutta where Rahul Dravid and VVS Laxman put on that incredible partnership and turned the game around for India and won that series. So that again was a fantastic cricket series, and sometimes in sports you just got to say that the opposition were too good. On that occasion, India were too good for Australia and won that series, and that was almost a turning point for Indian cricket as well, to believe that it could be the best team in the world. So I've had a lot of great experiences playing cricket, and I've learned a lot of lessons in my time in India, but probably the most significant moment for me in India came when I met Mother Teresa. And you saw a little bit on the screen before about my philanthropic work, but it really did start in India, and having the opportunity to meet Mother Teresa, which I wasn't sure I could do, but someone said, when you're in Calcutta, you can go to the Sisters of Missionaries of Charity Mother House and you can actually witness an early morning mass and you might meet Mother Teresa. And I'd always thought she was an amazing lady, probably the person in the world I'd most like to meet. So early one morning, got the rickshaw from the team hotel, the Oberoi Hotel in Calcutta, and we drove to the Sisters of the Missionaries of Charity Mother House. And it was about 6:30 in the morning, and I witnessed an early morning mass with all the nuns. The nuns were praying, and there was these wooden slats on the windows, and all these shafts of sunlight were coming through the windows and bouncing off the top of the nuns' heads. And it was one of those moments where I just couldn't believe I was actually a part of it, and it was a pretty surreal experience. And then moments later, Mother Teresa came towards me, and I actually met her and spoke to her for a brief period. And I can't remember exactly what I had said because I was very nervous and overwhelmed with the fact that I was actually talking to Mother Teresa. But what that did do is it sparked in me something that maybe in some small way I could emulate the work she'd done her whole life by helping someone or a charity in need. And then next year, whilst I was back in India, I had the opportunity to visit a place called Udayan, which was outside of Calcutta, in a place called Barrackpore. This was a facility where there was 300 boys who'd all been brought up in leper colonies. A lot of those kids were suffering from leprosy, or their parents were suffering from leprosy. And they'd been taken into this place, a rehabilitation facility, where they were getting 3 good meals a day, being well looked after. They had tremendous schooling opportunities, and they'd really given themselves a chance at life. And I thought this was so fantastic. But I said to Reverend James Stevens, who was running this place, can you please take me into the leprosy colony, because I want to see where these kids have come from and the difference you're actually making. And he was quite shocked. I think I was the first sports person to ask to go into a leper colony, which I did, and it was as bad as I imagined. It was almost like a living hell. There was no electricity, no running water, very cramped living conditions, very few material possessions. A lot of the parents were suffering from leprosy, so they had open wounds. A lot of those were obviously in pain, and it really was a very depressing place. And from that moment on, I decided I needed to get some of the girls out of that facility, because there was no girls in the rehabilitation centre. So I started raising money for that rehabilitation centre. It's now 26 years ago. So today there's 100 girls in that facility, and we're training them after school to have an opportunity to work in the hospitality sector or the nursing sectors. So they're doing further education. So as I say, coming to India had an amazing impact on my cricket, but it gave me life-changing moments by meeting someone like Mother Teresa. And that carried on to my work, as was mentioned before in the introduction, the Steve Waugh Foundation in Australia, where my charity, in conjunction with my wife, looks after children suffering from rare diseases, and we've been doing that now for 21 years. And that provides support and funding for children who can't get support from the government or any other charitable organisation because their diseases are so rare they don't fit into anyone's category. So India has played a big part in my cricketing life, but I might just tell you a little about the Australian cricket side. You're obviously very interested in the success of the Australian side, and maybe I can give you a few lessons and hints as to why we stayed the #1 cricket side for a long time. When I first started playing cricket for Australia, the benchmark was the great West Indian cricket side, and they had 4 or 5 quick bowlers. They had great batsmen like Viv Richards and Desmond Haynes and Gordon Greenwich and Richie Richardson and all those amazing players. And the bowling attack was Malcolm Marshall and Curtly Ambrose, Courtney Walsh, Patrick Patterson. I even played against Michael Holding and Joel Garner, so they were the benchmark. And it took a while for us to become #1. I think, as I said before, the 1987 World Cup was a bit of a turning point. Then in 1989 we went and won the Ashes 4-0, and we were lucky that we had an amazing coach in Bob Simpson, who regrettably passed away a few weeks ago. But he was the man that really turned Australian cricket around. He got us much more professional in the way we prepared, the way we trained. He had a big impact on me personally. I remember him coming up to me one time in the nets and saying, "Look, you're actually practicing to get out in the match, because you're hitting some amazing shots, but you're also getting out 2 or 3 times every session. And when you do that, subconsciously, you're practicing bad habits. So when you get into the most intense arena like Test match cricket, you're going to reproduce those bad shots and you're going to get out the same way." So he said to me, just every time you go into the nets, make sure it's almost like a match simulation. Play it as if it's a Test match. So that was a big turning point for me personally. The Australian cricket side, when we became the #1 side in the world, we had a bit of a saying that we still trained and prepared as if we were the #2 side. And I guess for your organisation, you're high achieving, you do things very well, and you're the best at what you can do, but you can always try and stay one step ahead. So for us, every time we played, we wanted to try and improve and raise the bar even higher. There was never that thought of complacency. We're the best side in the world, we can relax, we don't have to train hard. Our motto was always thinking we're the #2 side. So we train and prepare as if we were the second best team in the world. In all the successful sides I've played in and the businesses I've been involved in, I've noticed that there's 4 words that successful people very rarely say. And those 4 words are would've, could've, might've, and should've. Because when you think about all those words, they're actually excuses for hard work. When someone says, I could have done that, or I should have done that, or I might have done that, or I would have done that, well, I say, why didn't you do it? And generally it's because it's hard work and you're not willing to put in that extra effort and that commitment. So successful organisations and people don't make excuses, they don't take shortcuts, and that to me is mental toughness. A lot of people said I was a mentally tough player, but all that meant was I didn't take shortcuts, and I made sure that my preparation was really good. And thankfully we became the #1 side in the world. As a leader, I was very privileged to captain the Australian cricket side, and my philosophy was to treat people equally but differently. So in other words, you had to be on time, you had to wear the team uniform, which everyone here's obviously got the uniform on, the blue shirts on, so you've got the uniform covered. Be respectful of others when I'm playing cricket. Make sure you respect the fans and the media. But when I was captain, I wanted the individuals to have their own flair and charisma and play their own way. So we had some amazing individuals in our team. Of course, you would know a lot of those players. And all I wanted from all of my players was to be motivated. And it didn't matter what they were motivated by. I didn't care whether some players were motivated by fame, some players were motivated by money, some were motivated by overcoming adversity, maybe overcoming an injury, proving someone wrong. It didn't worry me as long as they were motivated by something. And my job as a captain and a leader was to tap into that and to know what motivated each player, and then to sort of use that to get the best out of those players. And as I said, we had very different personalities in the Australian cricket side. Someone like Shane Warne, one of the greatest players of all time. Surprisingly, I think you'll be surprised, but even someone like Shane needed positive reinforcement. He sometimes lacked confidence, and you would never have thought that. But sometimes you needed to tell him he was the best player in the world, the best bowler. He was going to do the job for Australia, and that made him relax and get the best out of him. Same with someone like Justin Langer, you know, a great opening batsman. But if you didn't tell Justin Langer he was really important to the side, he would start to doubt himself and think, you know, am I good enough to be here? Am I contributing to the team? So he would need positive reinforcement. Where other players like Glenn McGrath, Jason Gillespie or Adam Gilchrist were very easy to manage. You just let them be themselves, and they didn't need to be pushed and prodded and motivated. They were self-motivated. So you've got to get to know the people in your organisation. My brother Mark was pretty laid back and casual. So in team meetings, you want to get the best out of Mark early on, because after 10 or 20 minutes he'd be thinking about a horse race, or his mind would be somewhere else. So get Mark involved early in the team meetings. So every player was very, very different. And even on the field, you saw the way they played. Shane Warne was a player that was very in tune with the opposition players, with the umpires. And you'd see when he bowled how he could sort of work the umpire over. He might bowl a top spinner that was obviously going over the stumps, and it might hit the batsman on the pads. And Shane would have like a half-hearted appeal, knowing full well it was going to be given not out. And the umpire would say, no, not out. And Shane would walk past back the umpire and say, well, that was my top spinner. It was obviously going over the stumps. And the umpire would say, yes, that's what I thought. And they'd build a bit of a relationship up. Maybe the next ball would be a leg spinner that might pitch outside leg stump. And the appeal would be a bit more vociferous and a bit more positive. Again, it was not out. And Shane would walk back past the umpire, and he'd say to the umpire, well, that was a good decision. I think that I'm probably pitched outside leg stump. And the umpire would go, thank you, that's good you noticed. I thought that as well. So he was building this relationship up with the umpire. And then the next one might be a quicker one, which would hit the batsman, you know, reasonably close in front of the stumps, and Shane would turn around with this incredible, huge appeal, and the umpire would think, well, if Shane thinks it's out, it must be out. And of course the finger would go up. So very clever in the way he did that, and that's you know, that's the way he was a very good thinker of the game. And I'll give you an example of the way he thought about players and the things he saw. The famous Herschel Gibbs catch, which every time I talk cricket in India, people want to know what happened with Herschel Gibbs. But in that World Cup match where he dropped me, and I went on to say, maybe you've dropped the World Cup, but before the night before that game, we were discussing the South African team and going through their batting order and their bowlers and analysing all the players as if you always do. And we used to do that for every team. Someone like India, we'd actually give up with Sachin Tendulkar because we had plan A, plan B and plan C, but they never seemed to work. So it was like, let's just see what happens tomorrow against Sachin and hopefully we can get him out. But with South Africa, we went through all the team lists and had our full meeting before the match. And it was a game we had to win to make the semi-finals of the World Cup, so it was a crucial match. And the last thing before we finished the team meeting was I would say something as a captain. Jeff Marsh, the coach, might say something. And then we'd say, does anyone want to say anything else before we go and have a team dinner together? And Shane said, yes, I'd like to say one thing. And I said, okay, what would you like to say, Warnie? And he said, tomorrow, this may sound very strange, but if you're batting and you hit a catch towards Herschel Gibbs and he catches it, he said, don't walk straight away. Because, he said, he might layer rise around and carry on, and he might accidentally drop the ball. And we all thought, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. And we said, end of meeting, team bus tomorrow morning. 24 hours later, that exact thing happened when I clipped that ball. Herschel Gibbs at my wicket, one of the best fielders in the world, probably second to Johnny Rhodes in South Africa. And I thought instinctively, I've just lost the match because we're chasing 272 on an up and down wicket, and we're about 4 or 5 for 100. And he caught that simple catch, went to celebrate and tossed it away. And I couldn't believe what had happened. I just thought, well, did he catch it or did he drop it? I wasn't sure. And Hansie Cronje, the captain of South Africa, came running in straight away to David Shepherd and said, he's caught the ball, he's out, he caught it, he had control of the ball. And David Shepherd wasn't quite sure. And to be, and the great thing about Herschel Gibbs was, he said straight away, he said, no, I've dropped the ball. So it was a really good piece of sportsmanship, and probably something he regrets now, because 25 years later people are still talking about it. But I guess his big mistake wasn't not catching the ball, it was walking past me at the end of the over, because if I'd done that, I would have walked the furthest away from the batsman as possible. And we'd had a bit of a talk all day, and I'd been into Herschel's ear when he batted, and he got 120, he played this amazing innings. So as soon as I went at the bat, he was talking to me non-stop about, you're going to lose the game, and your World Cup's over, and you'll be on your way back to Australia tomorrow. So when he dropped that catch, I thought, now's my opportunity, maybe give him some advice on that catch. And as he walked past, I said, well, Herschel, you've just realised what you've done. You've just dropped the World Cup, or words to that effect. And it sort of became a famous quote. I'm glad he dropped it, not myself. But having said that, 25 years he's copped it, and it's probably a little bit unfortunate for him. But that was a big moment. And again, someone like Shane Warne, it just shows the type of player that Shane was. In the Australian cricket side, we had a saying that we sort of lived by, and it was a quote, and the quote was, attitudes are contagious, is yours worth catching? So in other words, the way you carry yourself, the way you train, the way you treat people, is that how you want to be seen by other people around you? So I think it's a good motto in the workplace as well. Are you a positive influence on the people around you? Are you always trying to improve? Are you trying to help the people around you get better? So in the Australian cricket side, the number one thing I wanted was people with good attitude. And age didn't matter to me. If someone was 40 years old and had a great attitude, I would pick that person over a 20-year-old with a bad attitude. Because when you have a bad attitude, that becomes contagious as well. And you take people with you, and you start to complain and whinge, and all of a sudden you've got the division in your team or your organisation. So I think that's a good motto for everyone. Is your attitude what it should be? Have a look in the mirror, ask yourself a few questions. Hopefully everyone can say, well, maybe I can improve a bit, or I can help someone else a bit more, or maybe I should stop thinking about myself the whole day, think about someone else around me, someone else may be struggling a bit. Particularly in cricket, we spent a lot of time away from home. Guys were homesick, missing their family, sometimes illness was happening or financial problems. So it was all about being successful, it was about looking after your mates and your teammates. And a big part of why we were successful and the number one side in the world was because we enjoyed each other's company. And to me, I can tell straight away there's a good spirit in this room. The way you sung your team song or your anthem for your workplace, I thought that was really cool, because in the Australian cricket team, what we had together was our baggy green, and that was something that united us together. It was a symbol that brought us closer, and was really important to us because it connected us to the past. And there's only been 470 players that have worn that baggy green cap. As a captain, when I walked out onto the field, I'd turn around, look at my team, and there was 10 other players wearing a baggy green cap, all different shades of green, on depending how long they played for Australia. The elder players, their caps were a bit tatty and a bit worn, and it wasn't that bright green. The new players had that bottled green cap on. So for me, the baggy green cap was a symbol of togetherness, and when we walked out on the field, I'm sure the opposition looked at us and thought, that's 11 guys together, they're going to be hard to beat. And the best thing I saw written by a journalist about us was, they said it was like 11 prize fighters entering the ring. And that's the way I wanted my team to be perceived, that we were going to be in a battle. It was 11 versus you guys, and if you picked on anyone in our team, our players would help each other out. So it was sort of strength in numbers, and the baggy green cap was a symbol for us, and I'm sure in your workplace you've got that as well. It's great to have something to stand beside and stand for, and something that brings you all together. We also had in the Australian cricket side, we kept it pretty simple. We had the way we played was called the 3 Ps. So it was pressure, partnerships, and patience. So everything we did in that Australian cricket side under Bob Simpson related back to those 3 Ps. So partnerships, it was about batting together, bat bowling together, fielding as a unit. pressure. It was always a bit of hustle, a bit of energy, a good body language, putting emphasis back on the opposition. And that was really important to us. And patience. It was about sometimes hanging in there in tough periods, particularly playing in the subcontinent where we weren't that used to. You know, it was tough conditions. The pitches were pretty flat. The temperatures were hot. In those situations, you had to have patience. So that was our mantra in the Australian team: have the 3 Ps. And I look back to how good Bob Simpson was. You know, our what we tried to do in that 1987 World Cup was pretty amazing when I look back on it. The way we were going to try and win games, and you can imagine this not happening today, but the way we wanted to win was Bob Simpson told us that 9 out of 10 one-day games are won by the team scoring the most singles. Can you imagine that being said today? I think it's probably the most sixes today, but back in 1987, if you scored more singles than your opposition, you were going to win 9 out of 10 one-day games. So our method in that 87 World Cup was to run like the wind, hit a lot of singles, and be the best fielding side. So we practiced for hours every day in the field, on our fielding. Bob Simpson was a magician at doing that. He'd hit you 10 or 12 high balls in a row. He'd run full stretch, catch a ball, run back the other way. So we did all our fitness in our fielding. So our method to win that 87 World Cup was based around hitting singles, being the best fielding side, and hustling the opposition. And that was the tactics we used. So that was pretty revolutionary when I want to think back to it, that no one else was doing that. The Australian cricket side, we also tried to have a motto: let's go down the road less travelled. Because when you're the number 1 team in the world, everyone's trying to copy what you do and try and get up to speed with you. So we try to do things differently. We were the first team in world cricket to try and score 300 runs in a day. Now they score 300 runs in the first 2 sessions, but when I was captain, 300 runs in a day was a lot. We had no night watchman. We had really aggressive field settings. We had baggy green presentations, so if someone debuted for Australia, we get a past player in to give them a cap and tell them a bit about the history of the game. So we tried to do these little things differently. We brought other people into the team to give us team talks, a bit like me talking to you guys. We had people from different sports. And one time in England, when John Buchanan was the coach, he was a bit of a left field thinker, John Buchanan. His motto was actually, if it's not broken, break it, which is pretty unusual. So he wanted to challenge everything. So one night we had a dinner with a guy called Edward de Bono, the lateral thinking genius. I don't know whether anyone's read anything about Edward de Bono, but he thinks very differently. And he knew nothing about cricket. But John Buchanan and I went to his place and we were playing a one-day tournament. And we said to Edward de Bono, I know you don't know a lot about cricket, but in one-day cricket, it's 50 overs each. Whoever scores the most runs wins the game, and you try and score as quickly as you can. And we said, is there anything that you might be able to tell us that we don't know, or some way we can improve at the team? Because we're always trying to look for that 1% difference. And Edward de Bono said, well, this may sound stupid, but if you've got an opposition batsman batting and he's scoring really slowly, why do you try and get them out? We thought, that's a good point, actually. Why do we do that? In our Australian nature, we're very, I guess, positive and aggressive, and if a batsman's batting, we just want to get rid of him straight away. But it made sense. If someone's batting very slowly, then maybe keep them in for a couple more overs, because they're actually doing a good job for you. And that's something we took away from that. And in future one-day games, if someone was just batting slowly and maybe not batting for the opposite, maybe not batting for their team, we didn't try and get them out as much. So that was the 1% we were trying to get to become a better side. And John Buchanan was always testing us in our training sessions. And one thing he did when he first came into the team, he started getting us all to throw with both hands. So being a right-handed thrower for all my life, at the age of 36, I was trying to be taught how to throw left-handed, which was pretty tough. But the point was that there were some younger players who managed to start throwing left-handed or the opposite hand really well. And one of those was Ian Harvey, who was a very good one-day player for Australia. And he ended up throwing right-handed. He was a right-handed thrower, but after about 3 or 4 months, he could throw left-handed equally as well. And there was a one-day match I recall where he picked the ball up and the batsman thought he's a right-handed thrower, they're safe. It went to his left side. He picked it up left-handed and threw the stumps down and got us a wicket. So that again was like that 1 or 2% that we were getting that no other team was getting. So I guess what I'm saying to your organisation is sometimes think outside the square, think differently. How can I improve maybe it's production or work enjoyment? Just is there something you can do a little bit different that hasn't been done in the past that maybe gives you a slight advantage? So as a leader, I didn't pretend I had all the answers. I mean, I had to make the tough decisions, but I was always happy to get feedback of other players. Having said that, you still got to make tough decisions when you're the leader. And you guys are all here in this room because you're leaders, I assume. And the hardest one I had to make was to drop Shane Warne. And he was my vice captain at the time. So you can imagine what that team meeting was like in the West Indies, where it was my first tour as a captain. We were down 2-1 in the series, coming up to the last test match in Antigua. West Indies had 7 left-handed batsmen. So I wanted Colin Miller to come in the side because he bowled off-spin away from the left-handers. The previous 3 test matches, we'd had Stuart MacGill and Shane Warne bowling leg spin. I think Shane had only taken about 3 or 4 wickets at a big average. Stuart had taken 10 or 11. Shane was coming back from shoulder surgery. He had a couple of off-field issues happening, which wasn't unusual, but they'd all sort of come together. And I just felt I had to make a change as a leader to try and win that last test match. And I knew if I dropped Shane, it was going to be a big decision. It was going to have a huge impact. And it was something I didn't really want to do. You know, I was uncomfortable with it. But then I thought to myself, as a leader, sometimes you've got to step up to the plate and make a decision that's not popular. And I always said, as a leader, it's good to have 2 things. It's good to be liked and respected. But the number one thing as a leader is, if you've got to have a choice between those 2, is go for respect. Because you can't be liked by everyone. You can't please everyone. Sometimes you've got to make a decision for the benefit of your team or your organisation and be a bit unpopular and take the hard line. So unfortunately for Shane, I had to drop him. It was only 3 selectors, myself, Shane was the selector, and Jeff Marsh. So you imagine we sit in a team room. I'm sitting there with one of the greatest players of all time, my vice captain and a good friend, and I'm telling him he's not playing the next test match. So I look back on that as a tough moment, but it was probably the defining moment of my leadership, because I had to stand up and make a decision for the benefit of the team. And as leaders, you've got to do that for your organisation sometimes. And of course you want to look after the people around you, and I wanted to look after Shane, but sometimes you've got to make that hard call. And I guess that's an example of my leadership. I always thought I wanted to be fair and give people the most opportunities as possible. But I think good leaders sometimes don't have to be good talkers. Some of the best leaders I've met are actually people who are very good listeners, because they look around and they pick up the vibes of what's going on. They're very intuitive, they're instinctive, they pick up stuff, and they have those one-on-one conversations. That was my style of leadership. I wasn't make a lot of speeches. You don't have to be a leader and make lots of speeches. You can do it otherwise. I was more getting people one-on-one, having a quiet chat, and try and be positive. And my other philosophy was, because I did a lot of media interviews, was to praise in public and to criticise in private. So I never said anything negative to the press about a player, because I knew they would make that into a big story and try and break up the team. So if there was something I had to say to a player that wasn't I tried to make it always constructive, but if it wasn't positive, you do that one-on-one, not in front of everyone else, but just with that person. So it was something between you two. But in the media, I'd always try and talk the players up and talk the team up. So we came across as this amazingly united side. Obviously, in any team or any organisation, there's going to be people that don't get on 100%, but the Australian cricket side, we respected each other. And when we walked across that field, on that line on that field, we were together. And that was what we wanted to do. We wanted to try and create a legacy. We wanted to respect our past, and which you guys do by celebrating 40 and 50 years. But we want to create the future. We want to see what's ahead of us, and we want it to be the best side in the world in one-day cricket and in Test cricket. We want to be good people off the field, develop people, just not cricket players. And John Buchanan was big on that, about seeing the person and not just a cricket player. Because we used to spend 280 days away from home. So if we didn't get on well and didn't respect each other, it was going to be a tough life. Cricket was, we toured the world a lot. a tour to England went for 4.5 months, and there's one occasion when we toured the West Indies and then went straight from the West Indies to the World Cup, and I was away from home for 6 months. So you had to learn to get on with your teammates and see the positive things. It's very easy sometimes to focus on someone's bad habits or something that annoys you, and that could happen with your work colleagues. So try and next time think of the positive things about that person, or the positive impact they have on the organisation. So try and turn it around, and that creates a good work environment. So I've been lucky enough, as I say, to play cricket for Australia for 20 years. I've now been involved in philanthropy for 20 odd years. I pursue other things. The spirit of cricket. There was a couple of shots up there, but 4 years ago I came to India and toured around India for 20 days and took 20,000 photographs because I wanted to capture the spirit of cricket through my lens of my camera. Because every time I toured India, I couldn't believe how passionate people are about cricket, and it happens every day in India. Every person I meet knows more about cricket than I do, which I find pretty incredible. That introduction today was very, very good. It was extensive. People do their research and love cricket. So I came back to India a couple of years ago, went all around India, went to the mountains, went to Dharamshala, took photographs up there, played with the kids in the Dharavi slum in Mumbai, played with the blind cricketers in Bangalore, played cricket on the beaches. We played with the physically challenged cricketers, went to the Women's Cricket Academy, celebrated the oldest living Ranji cricketer, and Sachin Tendulkar made a surprise visit on that night, which was incredible. So this guy I was taking a photograph of, it was his 100th birthday, and you can imagine he was about to cut the cake, and in walked Sachin Tendulkar with a bunch of roses for his 100th birthday, and this man just couldn't believe what was happening. Sachin Tendulkar was in front of him for his 100th birthday, and I guess that's the type of person Sachin is. He's very giving and caring, and that was a pretty amazing moment. And then I went round and I photographed this 3-year-old boy outside of Calcutta, and we found him on Instagram. He was this young boy who was a bit of a batting prodigy. So we went to his village outside of Calcutta, and he was already a superstar by the time we turned up to his little apartment with his family. There was literally twice as many people in this room outside his little village, because they all knew that I was coming to take his photograph. And we went into his bedroom to take some shots of him playing cricket. And as any 3-year-old, after a couple of minutes, he became bored and he wanted to do something else. And he had this plastic bat and he was whacking myself and the other photographer, because he just sort of, he had enough after a couple of minutes. Then eventually he started biting the leg of the other photographer, which I found pretty funny because it wasn't my leg. And so he said to his parents, can you just give him a couple of minutes off so he can just go away and relax, and then he can come back and take some more photographs. And this is an example of how much cricket means to the people of India, because when he went outside the room, his father stayed with me inside the room. And straight away his father started crying and broke down. And I thought, well, what have we done here? We've upset the family. And he thought, I asked him, I said, what is wrong? He goes, well, my son, he's misbehaved in front of you. That's the end of his cricket career. He's never going to make it now. And I'm thinking, he's a 3-year-old boy. Any 3-year-old boy acts like that. But his father was so worried that he thought because he misbehaved in front of me that his opportunity of being a professional cricketer was gone at 3 years of age. But thankfully that didn't happen. He's now 8 years old, still doing really well. But it just shows how much cricket means to the people of India, particularly in a lot of those rural places where they haven't got a lot. Cricket sometimes is a way out of poverty for these families, and lots of pressure on these young kids, but India is a powerhouse in world cricket. And everyone here, I'm sure, follows IPL. What an amazing cricket tournament that is. It sort of captured the world's imagination, and it's great for players, and it's great for young Indian cricketers because it has a pathway to them to play professional cricket, which I never had when I was growing up. So that sort of summarises a bit my cricket career. Leadership, I guess, I think everyone here is a leader in their own way. See yourself as a leader. You don't have to have the captain in the cricket team next to your name or the CEO next to your name. Everyone should see themselves as a leader and a role model. And if you carry yourself in that way, then your organisation is going to become much stronger. For me, my philosophy in life is to always challenge myself, to set myself new goals, to take myself out of my comfort zone. I think when you do that, it's amazing what can happen. And I just launched a business yesterday in India called Australia Essence. So I'm helping to bring Australian brands into India because India now is a powerhouse of the world. Everyone wants to come to India. And congratulations to you guys. But you know, your economy is amazing, your country is amazing. And I know Australia wants to do business with India because you know we've got a great relationship built, the foundation built on cricket. We have mutual respect for each other, which is fantastic. And I just sense right now Australia and India are really coming together. And it's a bit like a cricket side. Sometimes you go, that team's got something special, it's got a bit of an X factor. I think that's happening right now between Australia and India. And I can actually sense that in your organisation. You guys are very together. The way you celebrate, the way you address today, the pride you have in your organisation, I think is fantastic. And that's what makes teams and organisations strong, is you stay together and you're proud of what you're doing. And I can tell just by looking at you guys that you have that. So well done to your organisation. I think it's fantastic. Maybe we'll get some time. I don't know how much time we've got, but it'd be good to have some questions from you guys to me about. It could be about cricket, it could be about philanthropy, it could be about business. I'm sure there'll be some about the Indian cricket side and the current state of play, but have we got a microphone perhaps that we can use? There's someone walking around down the back there. Just put your hand up if you want to ask a question.
Sir, it's an absolute honor to have with us. Your career has been an inspiration for not just for the Australians, all over the world, cricket lovers of the world. First, I introduce myself. My name is Alok Srivastava. I am an ex-cricketer. I have got appointment in the sports quota in this SECL in the 1997. Presently, I am working in CMPDI as a HOD, HR and administration.
Very good.
And I have a privilege to be with the Australian cricket team as a local manager when Australian cricket team visited India after winning the World Cup at Raipur to play the T20 India international matches.
Very good. Excellent.
I have two questions for you, sir. One question for young cricketers. You see that you just spoke about that today's cricketers are under tremendous pressure, especially junior cricketers.
Yeah.
So how do you cope up with the pressure when you are playing?
Look, for young kids, yeah, there is a lot of pressure. I think as a parent, parents have got to just relax a little bit, let the kids enjoy cricket. My parents were very good. They were very encouraging, but they weren't too overwhelming. I think when you put too much emphasis on results and winning as a young kid, then if that doesn't happen, then they start to lose interest in the game and they don't feel good about themselves and they don't feel confident. So to me, if you've got a young child up to the age of 13 or 14, then it's all about encouragement, being positive and giving them confidence. And I was going to say, you don't have to take cricket too seriously until you get 15 or 16, but then I'm thinking, there's already that young boy played IPL at 14, which I can't quite get my head around. They can be so good at 14, but I think for parents and young kids, it's about enjoyment, enjoying each other's company and learning life lessons, because when you work together as a team, it's not about yourself, and that's a bit about life as well. That it's how you overcome adversity, help your people around you, do something together, not just for yourself. So that's the really important lessons that cricket and sport teach you in life. The second part of your question.
And just wait, sir, my son is representing state Chhattisgarh cricket team, under 19. Last year he's played Coach Bihar Trophy. So it's a very difficult as a cricketer, as a parents also, what you just said. And my second question, sir, on today's topic, on leadership. Sir, as a captain, you lead the bunch of champions. What was your biggest leadership lesson?
Wow.
How do you bring out best from each player and create a winning culture?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do you create a winning culture as a leader? I think as a leader, what people want is they want their leader to be consistent. They want their leader to be authentic, genuine and real. So be themselves. There's nothing worse than if someone's leading and you're not sure what they stand for, or they've got different moods on different days, or they change their minds on things. So I think a leader's got to be consistent, and the only way to do that is to be themselves, because if you try to be someone else, you forget who you are and you're not sure what you've done previously. So follow your gut instinct. You can get advice from people around you and learn from other things you've seen, But at the end of the day, you've got to do it your way, and the best leaders do it that way. And as I said before, it might be by your actions, it might be by what you say, it might be how you care for people. But as long as you're consistent, that's the number one thing as a leader. And you got to lead from the front. As a cricket player, you got to do the things. You can't ask someone to do something you're not willing to do yourself. So I believe good leaders roll up their sleeves, they get their hands dirty, and they get in amongst it, and they do the tough things. So leadership to me is about being real, but being yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kindly take the mic there. Kindly raise your hands. Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, heartily welcome. MV loves you.
Thank you.
Sir, I want to your opinion. Was the catch taken by Gibbs correct or not? Sir, please.
Was it correct? Well, yeah, it was. He dropped it. So, yeah. I can't change that decision now.
No, sir.
It's 26 years later, so it'll
I
be a long review. But
I think short mid-wicket catch Gibbs.
well, yeah, it was unfortunate for him, but yeah, that's history now. I think these days, if they showed the replays, they'd probably say it's not out. But you know, I can't change history. Thankfully.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Do you
very much.
think? Do you think it was out or not out?
Not out, sir.
Thank you. Okay, that'll do me.
You say not out, so, or not out.
Okay,
And congrats.
I'm happy to go with that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Steves.
Evening.
Myself, Zakir Hussain. I'm also a motivational speaker, and I have been performing on various platforms. Recently, I had an opportunity to be performing at TEDx as a speaker leading my company. One question, as a team, we know we have to have cohesiveness amongst the team members.
Yeah.
And everybody is passionate. We have accountability of each and every team members in the team. My question to you is, what if the trust falls apart?
Well, you probably start losing, but yeah, that's a good point. Look, it's not always smooth sailing, and it's not always easy as a leader and a captain. What I relied upon in my team was, whilst I had vice captains, I still had other experienced players and friends of mine that sometimes were the eyes and the ears that I needed, because as a leader, not everyone's going to tell you their problems, because they might think that it's a sign of weakness, so they're not going to tell you everything. So I needed other players in the team to tell me what was going on, if there was someone a bit unsettled or we could do things differently, to come and tell me. And a good example was the 1999 World Cup, where we just come from the West Indies, and I thought our team was probably enjoying themselves too much at night time with a few drinks and not getting to bed at the right times. And so I said to them before the start of the 1999 World Cup that after 12 o'clock at night was cricket time, so if you were out doing something then, it wasn't the right thing to do, and there might be consequences if things don't go well. So that was unusual for us to do that, because we've had always this culture of, you know, having a drink and relaxing and having a bit of a good time as well. That was part of what we did. So the first couple of games, we just beat Scotland, first game, then we lost to New Zealand, and we lost to Pakistan. And Tom Moody, who's a good friend of mine, was in the squad, and he came up to me, he said, look, I think we need to revisit this. It's I know you're trying to do the right thing and you've got good intentions, but the guys aren't really enjoying their cricket, and we're not playing our best because of that. So I had to swallow my pride as a leader and think, well, I've made the wrong decision, but I've got to try and turn that around. So straight away I recognised that and said, okay, I might have been too harsh in that regard. It's back to being normal. Do whatever you want, but the consequences are still in you guys if you go out and do the wrong thing and don't play well. But I'm happy for you to go out and socialise and relax. And from that moment on, we actually played better cricket. We were more relaxed. We trusted each other, and I guess the respect was back again. So that was an example of me being a leader, getting it wrong, but luckily I had people around me to tell me that maybe reassess that and have a think about it. So you don't always get it right, and for me, it was about trusting other people sometimes, that maybe they had a better idea or a clearer way of thinking. And leaders, you've got to be man enough to say, okay, I've got it wrong. I'll try another way. And we did that and we won the World Cup. So maybe without Tom Moody telling me that, we might have lost that World Cup.
Steve, this is for you. The side.
Sorry.
So it will be tough for you. Steve, you have been a leader for many decades, but you practiced mental disintegration. Mental disintegration of the teams to win. What was that?
Sorry for what? I missed that.
I asked you, your team practiced mental disintegration.
Oh, right, okay, yes. Mental disintegration. No, that's called banter. It's a bit of fun. Yeah, look, we were, I guess, mental disintegration, mental interrogation, bit of fun, bit of banter. You can call it different things. To me, it was about, in our team, a lot of people described us as being ruthless. And I thought that's great, because ruthless to me means that you've made the most of your potential. That to me is being ruthless. You know, if you're not ruthless and you haven't done what you're supposed to have done. Mental disintegration, yeah, it was about putting doubts in the opposition's mind. We did that for sure. I don't deny that. An example might be Shane Warne bowling leg spin around the wicket into the rough, and the batsman might be trying to play a sweep shot. So there's a lot of players around the bat, and we'd be talking amongst ourselves going, wow, that's a pretty ambitious shot, trying to play a sweep shot out of the rough against Shane Warne. And someone else might say, oh, there's no way I'd be playing that shot, that's too risky. Or someone else would say, oh, well, you know, he's obviously a good player, he can do that. So the batsman has got all those things going in his mind, all these people talking about it. All of a sudden he starts to think, yeah, maybe I shouldn't play that shot. And then, so we put doubts in their mind. Or it could be like someone like Nasser Hussain, who didn't enjoy too much of a chat. But I remember a game in England where he was playing front foot defence and kept playing and missing. And unfortunately for him, a lot of the grounds, there's big replay screens on the ground. So if the batsman plays and misses, you go and watch the screen. So we're watching it, and we were sort of commentating on his batting. So the replay came up and he'd play and miss, and we go, geez, I can't believe that. He doesn't really bend his front foot, does he? His leg's a bit stiff there, and his head's falling over. And he play miss again, and the replay came up, and we go, geez, he's a bit of a slow learner. Sure, he's going to bend his front pad there. So we'd be commentating on his batting, he just loud enough so he could hear it as well. And you could just see the sort of steam coming out of his ears. So they're the sort of things we did, having a bit of fun and getting doubt in the batsman's mind, and they start thinking about other things rather than what they should be thinking about. Because the other way is you could have a straight sledge, and that very rarely happened. And if you sledged, example, someone like Javed Miandad, Viv Richards, Sachin Tendulkar or Brian Lara, if you had a go at them and said something stupid, guarantee they're going to get 100. There's nothing surer. So you don't pick on that. You definitely don't say that things to those sort of players. It doesn't work. So it was more about having fun, because cricket's a long game. If you're at a test match, you're out there 7 hours. If you're all out there not saying one word, imagine 7 hours, it's a long day. So we tried to keep each other up and have a bit of fun, a bit of banter. Sometimes it was, that mental disintegration, trying to wear down the opposition, get them to think about something they shouldn't be thinking about. That's what we tried to do. But look, India had some good mental disintegration players as well. Harbhajan Singh was very good at mental disintegration. There was other players too that didn't mind a chat, so it wasn't just Saurav Ganguly. It wasn't just one-way traffic. It was a bit of back and forth here.
Question to you. When you inherited the team from Waugh, it was not that strong, and you took over for the next 7 years. You made them the world beaters. You imbibed with them that they could beat anybody in any pitch except India. That was the final frontier. You didn't conquer, but ultimately it was conquered by somebody else. But that was the final frontier. But you made the team with the world beaters. The best thing about the Australian team was their very strong, steely resolve. What was about that? How do you get it?
Yeah, look, you're right. I took over from Mark Taylor. It was a good team. When I took over captaincy, I wanted the team to sort of... We basically said to the team, like, we have these high standards, but and there was this thing about these dead rubber test matches, but end of the series didn't matter. And I just thought every time you walked on the field representing your country, it's the most important match of your life. And we had a really good side, so we just said at one team meeting, myself and John Buchanan, like, why can't we win every game? Like, why should we lose any games? when you win a game, you sit down and you analyse it and you say, okay, we played really well. That's now our benchmark. We're not going to play below that. Let's try and get better. So every time we won a test match, we sort of analysed it a bit and thought, yeah, we can get better. And if we got better, then that meant we could try and win every game. So we really broke it down into small segments. We never looked too far ahead, but we thought every test match we can try and win. And that happened a few times. We won 16 test matches in a row twice. The 17th test match was obviously that Calcutta match where we were interrupted by VVS and Rahul Dravid. But we thought we could win every match, and we won a lot of World Cups in that era. And we just, all of a sudden, we prided ourselves on winning the big moments, where we thought, let's seize the moment, let's take control of the match when it counts the most, and back ourselves. And we tried to embrace pressure, because we always had pressure on us, but I saw pressure as something that was really good for us, because it meant that people thought we were pretty good. I mean, there's no pressure on you if someone doesn't think you're any good. You're not going to have pressure on you. So when we had pressure, it meant that we were good. We expected ourselves to do well, and we wanted to set the bar high. So we never saw pressure as a problem. We thought it was actually something really good to have, because the opposition would read things about us in the paper, and they hear us talk in the media, and we'd always try and be positive and have good body language. So that was a good thing for us.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Athar Tilak. It's been a delight to listen to you so far, and my question is that can you tell us about any leadership traits which you might have picked up from your contemporary cricketing captains of other teams? Maybe.
Yeah, interesting, from other teams. Yeah, look, Saurav Ganguly, be on time. He was never on time. Yeah, that's a joke. Other captains. So look, I respected it. I always respected my other captains, because it's a hard job, and particularly if you're not winning, there's always lots of pressure. And when you're a leader, the one thing I did learn is that everything is exaggerated. When you're going well, everyone says you're the best thing ever. When you're losing, you're the worst ever. But the truth is it's somewhere in between. So I always respected my opposition captain, because I knew they were under pressure and they had a big job to do. And sometimes the opposition captain didn't have the players at his disposal to be winning regularly. So I never took it for granted that we had really good players. That was important to us. My challenge as a leader was to get those really good players all going in the same direction. But yeah, I think I admired Saurav Ganguly, because he gave India a bit more backbone, a bit more fight, and that sort of continued on with Virat Kohli. And now you got obviously MS Dhoni was Mr. Magic. Every time he did something, it turned into gold. He was a great leader under pressure. And now you got Shubman Gill, who did an amazing series in England, where people weren't sure how he was going to go after. Yeah, you can clap him for sure. After Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma retired, that was a huge series. So yeah, I think I learned from lots of captains. Stephen Fleming was a good captain for New Zealand. When I was a younger player, I think Ranatunga did a good job for Sri Lanka, winning that World Cup in 1996. That was an amazing achievement. Yeah, so I think I respected all captains. It's not an easy job.
Hello. Good evening, sir. This side Pawan Kumar Pandey. I just want to ask one question, that how you tackle conflicts while performing games, and what is the difference in now you are performing social responsibility. So basically, what is the difference between both of that? How you tackle conflicts?
How do I tackle conflicts? Yeah, look, I think the hardest job ever is being a parent. That's for sure. I still struggle with that. I've got 3 kids, and that's hard work. Cricket's easy compared to being a parent. Conflicts, yeah, I think you try and be fair. In a team, yeah, you've got to put the team first in front of the individual. In charity, I've been doing that 20 odd years now. I think whatever it is, whatever you do, you've got to be passionate about. If you haven't got a passion for what you're doing, then you can't give it 100%. You can't be committed, and you'll take the shortcut. But there's always, rather than conflicts, I guess there's differences of opinion, which is good. In a team, you don't want everybody saying the same thing and agreeing to everything, because then you never challenge yourself and get outside your comfort zone. I think to get better, sometimes you've got to make yourself be a bit uncomfortable and do something you're not quite sure you can be successful at. And once you are successful, it gives you enormous confidence to do other things. And I'm an example of that. I mean, I never really concentrated very much at school. I've ended up writing 14 books. I've done 2 photography books. I've self-published those books. I started a charity up 21 years ago from scratch. Lots of things I've done I never thought I'd do, but it's amazing once you have a go at things, you can do it. So, but conflicts is part of everyday life and part of business. I think it's, if you can show someone the positive path going forward, then hopefully they can see that and take that and go along with you. But you can't convince everyone, and sometimes you've got to go a different direction and leave people behind if they're not willing to go in the same direction you want them to go on.
Good evening. Steve, my simple question is, how do you motivate somebody who is in the touring team but not getting a chance in the team playing 11?
Good question.
Now, how do you make him involved? Because you want him not to give his 100%, you want to give him his 110%.
Yeah.
How do you motivate him? What
Well,
exercises?
we were lucky in the team, and when we picked touring sides for Australia, we sort of knew the starting 11 players were going to be. So our reserves were really important because we knew that some of those weren't going to play many games, but they were away from home, making the same sacrifices, but not getting the same, I guess, rewards. So I always thought that our reserves were more important sometimes than the players, because the example I set was a benchmark for the rest of the team. And some of the guys that were the best reserves or support players were someone like Michael Kasprowicz, Andy Bickle. These guys were amazing for the team because they never complained. Even though they didn't play a lot, they were always 100% for the team. And the players who were playing saw that. And someone like Bickle and Kasprowicz, they'd always be running around, getting you a drink, looking after you, doing the things that no one else wanted to do, in the nets helping you out. And as a player, you thought, wow, I mean, I'm playing, I'm getting all the credibility and the fame and the opportunity to take 5 wickets and score 100 runs. These guys are sitting there doing these terrible jobs basically, not complaining. So that was the benchmark for our team. Our reserves actually set the mark, because what they did was an example of how we all should carry ourselves. And we talked about attitude before. Attitudes are contagious. Well, theirs was. And if you carried on like a bit of an idiot and didn't give 100%, these other guys would bring you back into line. So they were actually the thermometer, or they were the gauge for the rest of the side. They were sort of, they set the benchmark for us. So they were really important. So that's the way we tried to, our reserves are really important to us. They weren't just people there for the sake of it, and we picked them because of their personality traits a lot of the time. They were also good players, but they were very good people. They were sort of the moral compass of the team.
Hi, good evening, Steve.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is that what inspires you to connect to Ryan? Is it something to do with City of Joy, the Dominic Lapierre? Next question is one more question, please. I just want to add, and it will be a pleasure that if you put some light on your own work out of my comfort zone, especially in context to our organization.
Yeah, like Uday and I in India, it could have been anywhere in India, really, to tell you the truth. It just had happened. It was a bit of fate. I saw kids in need, and I realised with my, I guess, status in India, I could make a difference. Like I brought awareness to this cause. I could raise money. I could bring attention to it, and most importantly, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people and making a difference, and it wasn't hard to do. And I encourage more people to do it. I think hopefully more sports people in India have done it now, but it's just something that really happened. And as I said, the spark was Mother Teresa, but then I had the opportunity to do it. And now in Australia, 21 years I've been doing in Australia with these kids with rare diseases, and people ask me who my role models are. It's actually those kids, because they've dealt these really tough cards in life through no fault of their own, but they never complain and they get on with it. And I really love that about the people who do it tough, is that they've got a choice. They give in or they fight it. And I love people who take it on and want to make the most of their opportunity or their life and do the best they possibly can. So that's what motivates me in charity. I actually enjoy it. And I get more out of charity than I give, because you see people change their whole life, and with my charity in Australia, it affects not only their whole family but their friends and people around them, because it changes their lives. Sorry, I forgot the third part of your question. Part 3 was my own work. My own work. I mean, my wife and myself set the charity up in Australia. It's been going 21 years. My wife basically volunteers these 20 hours a week. She's done that for 21 years. Never taken 1 cent from the charity. Doesn't claim any, never claims a cent. So she's totally given everything for 20 years, 20 hours a week. I guess myself as well. We have a really good board, a lot of volunteers. We have 2 part-time employees. I also do work from the Laureus World Sports Academy, and Kapil Dev is a member of that, so is Sachin and Rahul Dravid. We have a Sport for Good Foundation, which has, I think it's 60 projects in 240 countries, so we do work there. So philanthropy is a big part of my life. I'm lucky I can do that. I earn money in other ways, so I can volunteer my time. But like anything, if whatever you do, you've got to be committed to it. You've got to be passionate. So it's not for everyone, but if you do decide to go down that path and give, I think if you can do it, then it's a good thing to do, because at the end of the day, we're all in privileged positions, and most people who are born into poverty or have a rare disease, it's through no fault of their own. It's just how it was. So if you can help them out, then I think we all should do that.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello, Mr.
Where's that
Waugh.
coming from? Is that the back somewhere?
Hello.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
My question, myself Shailendra Kumar Yadav. I have 2 questions. First question is that how do you balance your social life, sports and personal life?
Still trying to work that out.
Yes.
60, I'm not sure. That's a good question. You're right. Yeah.
Second question is that which player you like the most in Indian cricket team and why?
Okay. First question, balance. Yeah, balance in life is always hard to work out. A lot of people say to me, "What have you done in retirement?" I've never seen myself as retired. I'm just going a different direction. And they always say to me, "Why don't you slow down?" I said, "Well, why? What am I going to slow down for? I don't want to spend all my life on a golf course or sitting at a beach. I like to have a purpose." I think we've all got to have a purpose in life and make us get up and want to do things. And for me, it's have a new challenge. And as I launched a business 3 days ago in Mumbai called Australia Essence. And I'm always looking for my next challenge. Doing the photography book was really fantastic. So for me, it's about what's my next challenge. I don't really want to slow down, but having said that, I probably should slow down a bit for my family, because I spend a lot of time away. But I think I don't think they want to see me home every day, because they know I'd be, they'd probably say, "Out you go and do something," because that's the way it is. I've got 3 kids, my wife, I've also got a lot of animals. I've got a dog, a rabbit and 3 chickens at home. So I look after the animals. I love looking after the animals at home. So you feed the chickens, you get them up at 7:30 in the morning, they go to bed at 5:30 in the afternoon. Take my dog for a walk twice a day. And I've got a rabbit as well, so we let the rabbit outside and it plays in the garden. So I guess I'm almost like a farmer in a lot of ways. So I do that. That's my routine at home. That's to keep me normal and grounded. Sorry, I forgot the second part of your question. I've sidetracked there. What was the last part of your question?
With this, one last question from Ramneet, sir.
Sorry.
Today, Indian team is recognized as top of the world team. So what, in your view, Indian team has imbibed the qualities which has taken it to the top of the world?
Yeah, I just remember the second part of your question about the favourite Indian player as well. I'll go back to that. So, when I first started playing, I was in awe of people like Kapil Dev and Sunil Gavaskar. And I got to know Kapil pretty well over the years, and Sunil Gavaskar. They were great players. Then obviously right through to probably India's best batting lineup ever. When you had Laxman and Ganguly and Dravid and Tendulkar, and I've probably missed a couple of players. It's really hard to pick it. I would have loved to have played against MS Dhoni. I never played against him, and Virat Kohli I never played against. I always admire those players, the way they play the game. They never seem like they're ever defeated. You always think when those guys are playing that India has a chance of winning. So it must be great as a fan to watch those guys. The current Indian side, yeah, really good team. They're in transition a bit now. Obviously, Virat Kohli, all-time legend of the game, not playing. But you saw in Shubman Gill how he responded in England was pretty amazing. Like nearly 800 runs and 4 centuries. An outstanding performance for a young player. And there was other young player like Washington Sundar, players like that really came through. Jadeja is probably the best all-rounder in world cricket. Has been for a long time, without getting recognised probably. So you have the makings of a really good side. And Rishabh Pant is probably obviously he's a sort of modern-day Gilchrist. He just transforms the game, and when he's at the crease, you don't know what's going to happen. Like some of the shots he plays, and that fall down, pull shot over fine leg, or whatever. I don't even know what that's called, that shot. And I can just imagine myself playing that with Bob Simpson as coach. He would never let you back in the nets again. He'd say, "That's it. You're never batting again." Like that sort of shot. I don't know how he plays it. So Rishabh Pant, yeah, what a great player he is, and he's lucky. India's lucky to have him in the team because he can win a game from anywhere. A bit like Gilchrist. The opposition sees Gilchrist walking out to battle, or Rishabh Pant. They think they've done the hard work, and all of a sudden this guy comes in and can totally transform the game in 1 hour. So those players very rarely come along.
Thank you, sir, for this inspiring and insightful address and for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us.
Thank you.
Your thoughts on leadership and life will serve as a source of inspiration for SECL to move ahead. Thank you
very much. Thank you.
I now request our respected Director HR SECL, Shri Biranchi Das sir, to kindly address the gathering on this memorable occasion.
Good evening, everybody. Let's give a very standing ovation to Steve first. To be honest, Steve coming here is a dream fulfilled for many of us. He's so humble, so good. But at the same time, he himself told today, he was a ruthless as a captain, as a Australian cricketer. The only motto was to win. And while he was delivering his lecture, I was going through what makes him the different, the man he is. I would like to say, the first is, as an organization, we should enjoy each other's company. He told that they have a pride in wearing the baggy green. We should have a pride in wearing the men in blue or women in blue. Then from taking an anecdote from cricket, he told that 3 P's, pressure, partnership and patience. To grow as an organization, to be successful as an organization, we should be never succumb to pressure. Pressures will be coming on us in different forums. For us, it will be different. For you, it will be different. But never enjoy whatever work you are doing. I enjoy whatever I do. To be honest, that's for what we are being paid for. Yesterday, I started at 5 o'clock to be, does not get something about it, at 5 o'clock from Delhi airport. Then when I reached the airport, the flight was 3 hours late. It took off at 10 o'clock. It hovered around Raipur for 30 minutes. I didn't got a chance to get down at Raipur, then definitely without any announcement that landed in Bhopal. We are stuck up in the flight. Then I come back to again Raipur at 4 o'clock, and at 6:30 I was in the office. I don't ask you, you should follow me, but you should pride what you are doing. Then again, if you have to succeed, you have to run like the winds, what he rightly said. You have to be successful, you have to run like the winds. Then you have to think differently. The delta X you have to bring. I tell that you people, if you want to be, there is a difference between a simple, if a common man and a leader is the greatness or the delta X. He was imbibing the delta X to bring out the delta X in you so that this organization grows. Again, at tough times, he was telling about he has to drop Waugh, and that was a very tough decision for me as a leader. At times you have to take tough decisions to bring the organization, to bring the team which you are leading. If you are a leader, you have to take tough decisions. It may not be popular. It may be very unpopular decisions, but you have to take it. अगर आप अपने बच्चे का भी अच्छा चाहते हो, उसके लिए भी टफ बनना पड़ता है, तभी तो हम उसको डांटते हैं. Sorry, Steve, I was speaking in Hindi. Then make a hard call when you need it. Have a quiet chat with never humiliate your team members. What he told right now. Even if somebody is doing wrong, don't rebuke him in front of everybody. You can take a chat with him. You are doing wrong, mate. That's not good. These are the lessons and respect for each other. Once you respect what somebody else is doing, may not be a man, a line manager, what he is doing, the staff functions are not doing the same thing. But as an organization, you should have respect for each other. Without the staff functions, the line managers can't function, and vice versa. Without the line managers, the staff managers can't also function. So in an organization, you should have respect for each other. As a team, we grow. As a team, we fail. There should be no pinpricking that for that or somebody else will be failing. If you work as a team, we grow as an organization, and that's why in this 50 years, we are celebrating 50 years of Coal India, because we are growing as a team, right? And then again, rightly Steve said that there should be no emphasis on results. You do your own work, bring out your delta axis, and obviously the results will definitely come. Rightly he was quoting Bob Simpson, that if you want to hold the World Cup in 1987, then you have to take the many, you have to take singles, not now, that theory is changed now. In 87, if you want to hold the World Cup, you have to take many singles, and the Australian team was doing the right thing then, and they were very cunning also. And I asked the questions about them also. They are very good at mental disintegration. Steve was very humble when he said that was banter, but they will start the integration, disintegration, the right time when your team lands in Australia, or right, Steve? What I'm telling. Anyway, it was a remarkable afternoon this has been, and it's been a privilege to listen to none other than a World Cup winning captain who has galvanized not only his own nation, but millions of people around the world. His achievements I don't want to tell anymore. I wanted to, he himself told about the Herschel Gibbs catch. I was going to tell that now many people do not remember it. But the same thing, he was very humble enough. While we were having lunch, I told him that Curtly Ambrose reduced them to 7 wickets for 1 run only. And he told that yes, it was unplayable that day at Perth in Waugh. And definitely his thought-provoking session on leadership, resilience and philanthropy will definitely lead this organization to many greater goals. And we wish Steve a very nice time in India, because he will be coming to India much more than what he has been in the past, because he is 2 to 3 months back, he has been chosen by the Australian government to be as a member of a CIL team That is the relations team between Center for Australia-India Relations. He has been chosen as a team member, and which he has gleefully accepted, because in his own words, he has lots of friends in India, and India is his second home. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, Steve, on behalf of SECL and Coal India. Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you, sir. As a mark of gratitude and respect, may I now request our respected functional directors and CVO SECL to kindly felicitate Mr. Steve Waugh with a memento from SECL. Thank you, sirs. I now invite DGM HR and Administration, SECL, Shri Manish Srivastav sir, to deliver the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anuradha. At the outset, on behalf of Coal India Limited and Southeastern Coalfields Limited, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Steve Waugh for agreeing from coming from Australia to India a long way on the occasion of 50th Golden Jubilee celebration of Coal India and Ruby Jubilee celebration 40th year of SECL. I thank you, Steve Waugh, sir. Thanks a lot. In spite of such a long and tiresome journey, Mr. Waugh has enlightened us. I will request, please be seated. Please be seated. In spite of his long and tiresome journey, he has enlightened us with the leadership potential and his cricketing experience, and share the leadership qualities which a leader required for organizations also. I'd also extend thanks to Mr. Waugh for bringing the reasons to smile on the many children for his philanthropic approach and philanthropic practices. Thanks for inspiring many across the world without knowing them. And thanks for being the part of the journey of the Coal India and the SECL. From the SECL as a family, we give you a lot of gratitude and heartfelt thanks for coming to SECL. Thank you, sir. All this was possible with the visionary and the guidance of the functional directors of SECL. However, our chairman cum managing director, Shri Harish Tuhan Sahab, due to official preoccupation is not available. Due to his visionary and guiding force, we have been able to conduct the celebration process. Our guiding factor, Director Technical Operation, Shri N. Franklin Jayakumar Sahab. The person who conceived, planned and executed this is Director HR, Shri Birenche Das Sahab. And all the execution part is without the help of Director of Finance, D. Sarla Kumar Sahab, Sunil Kumar Sahab. Thanks a lot, sir. CVO, sir, SECL Bilaspur, sir. DTPNP, SECL. I also extend my thanks for being the part of this journey to the state authorities who is here, Mr. Amit Kumar Sahab, Municipal Commissioner, Shri Arvind Kamath Sahab, IAS, Shri Sumit Kumar Sahab, IRS, Shri Rajendra Agarwal Sahab, CPO Admin, SECR, And thanks for this, and this shows the bonding between the SECL and the stakeholders with which the SECLs are working, which have a strong bonding and they are interacting with each other. I also extend my sincere thanks to the members of the steering committee, to the welfare board, to the safety board, SISTA, OBC, council, trade union representatives present here from the areas and from the headquarters, the CMOI. I extend my gratitude and thanks to all. This program would not have been possible without the contribution and help of the area general managers and the HODs of headquarters Bilaspur. This hall is full due to your support and presence, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. I also thank the persons sitting here and making this program a purpose. With a purposeful event, we have come to the conclusion of the program. I give my thanks to all the persons in the auditorium here and to all those who are being connected through YouTube Live and the Facebook Live. I also extend my thanks to the print media and the electronic media, the persons who are available here. Nonetheless, the town administration and the civil team, the admin team, the PR team, who are continuously doing all their efforts to make all the event of the SECL successful. I extend my thanks to all my teammates. I also extend my thanks to the ICH and the food partner, the sound system, and all the persons who have made their effort in making this event a successful. I also extend my thanks to Anuradha for hosting the event flawlessly, as usual, which she always does. Thank you, Anuradha, and thank you all for this program. Thanks a lot.
The snacks packet, they are kept outside the auditorium. If anybody is interested, they can collect it from there.